What is going on, everyone? My name is Boyd, and I'm back with some more Age Mythology, the Titans action, spawning in the left side of the map in the blue color. No, he's in the red color, playing as Set. His name is Shelty. His opponent today in the blue color, or I should have said in the red color. No, the blue color. In the blue color, playing as Odin. His name is Grandmonster. The map is Tropical Mirage. You may remember this map from the finals of last season, where I believe Kimo was playing Redo on this map in an Oranos versus Ra? Oranos versus Set Mirror? One of those two. Anyways, new game, new me, new you. It's Set versus Odin here. Shelty locking in his Set. Tropical Mirage is a bit of a funny map. You get these spawns of grass where the town centers are all around the map like so. And there's a lot of hump that can spawn in here as well. So you can see elephant everywhere, gazelle everywhere, hyena kind of everywhere as well. So we'll see what these guys have got prepared here. Obviously, Shelty thinks that this map is fairly marsh-like. So given he enjoys playing the Set against Odin on marsh, you can only expect that he's going to enjoy playing Set versus Odin on Tropical Mirage. And we are seeing Shelty going after some hyena here. I don't hate the idea of grabbing the first animal you convert as a hyena, just to make sure you protect your priest against wolf sarks. But then after that, what I'd like to see is him come up and grab either some of his opponent's hunt over here, or like find where the elephants are and convert those. And that would be normally pretty good. He still hasn't seen that this is a town center here or not. You can get the grass spawns with no town center, so you have to be a little bit careful with guessing where everything is. Make sure you still scout properly. But this is a fantastic location for a second town center for Shelty. We see the temple coming up, and it does look to me like Shelty's going to attempt to go for about a 4-minute advance time, just basically eating just the hippopotamus here. He's got his houses up. He's delayed the monument, so this does indicate fast second town center. Very, very obvious way to tell if you're ever like, is my opponent considering a fast second town center as Set or Isis? Not necessarily Ra. Ra is a little bit different, but kind of the same. Has he got a monument down? And obviously, he has not. Grandmonster now getting his own temple down. Deciding whether or not your opponent, a Norse player, is going second town center fast is much more difficult, because the builds look incredibly identical at the start as to whether they're doing like a raiding cavalry flood, they're going for a ton of Olfsark, they're going for a fast heroic, they're going for second town center. All looks very, very similar. So I guess we'll see. There's the Freya coming through for Grandmonster. Shelty still not advancing, but there he goes. He's actually going for more like a 4:15 advance time rather than 4-minute advance time. So the hippo is going to get eaten here. We see 6 villagers on gold right now, which is a bit funny. Does indicate potentially this could be more of a rush here than a second town center. So we'll see what's going to go on. So Shelty may simply just go forward with a priest or two, shifting sands onto his opponent, and then try and harass that way. But we'll see how it's going to go. The hippopotamus still in the main base of Grandmonster. As the hyenas scouting around, he does find the elephant over here with the goat and everything else. Send those home when he feels like it, if he ever feels like it. As there's the pharaoh going forward. So this is potentially just going to be a really, really strong classical fight here from Shelty instead of a fast second town center. So that's another option here. Super fast advance time. Throw down your barracks. Get going. Spears, axemen. I do prefer in this matchup to get out the Anubites though. Get 2 monuments out. So we'll see if that's going to be... Well, he's gone through Patar, so it doesn't actually matter. But now the vision onto the opponent's base there, and we see no shifting sands just yet. Villagers moving up onto this location to get the zebra here. The priest and pharaoh still walking around. We see the pharaoh walking in, going to be brushing up against the Valkyrie. He's going to say g'day and then be on her merry way. And then the pharaoh's walking in. He's simply just going to be looking for something to shifting sands here. He's walking in with the pharaoh. If he can find the the Herser is just going to shift them into his base, which is exactly what he does. But there's no box. And that did nothing. It delays the Longhouse by a little bit. The Pharaoh is going to be able to do some damage, but these Herser will just walk back home. There was like a couple of decent spots to put the Herser. Like here, he's probably going to get a kill. Down here, it's like, what? There's no tower here. I mean, fair enough. The Herser in here almost falling as the Pharaoh moving in. Nice garrison micro from Grandmonster to keep that one alive. Thank you so much for the host, Don Artie. Appreciate it, man. Hope your stream went well. Now the Pharaoh going to attempt to pick off the Ulfsark. Not going to happen. And the Pharaoh has to retreat back there as the Herser retreating back to his home base. And Grandmonster's got literally has taken no damage there. He took no damage. The only damage he took was delayed town center here. The Herser are back, raring to go. Pharaoh's in the front of this base here. These animals of Set all going to go down. We see the Herser immediately target down the Pharaoh, and the Wadjet will go down as well. Meanwhile, this Valkyrie is looking for some raids. The priest will have defended over here, but this is going very, very poorly here for Shelty as he's looking for some sort of avenue to do some damage against Grandmonster. And Grandmonster can choose to do whatever he wants to do now. Get a second town center, totally fine. Go Heroic Edge, totally fine. Spam out tons of units and go for hard raids, totally fine. He's basically picked off all of the animals of Set, so there's no free hunt in his base. And you can see that Shelty is even grabbing berries here. And we're seeing Shelty also make a couple of spearmen. And these spearmen here, they should not do any damage. The Valkyrie spots it out. Your Odin, you have the Odin map hack Ravens here. You could position them here and potentially here, and you basically cover all of the routes into your base, or here, right? And you'd be able to cover this entire spot here with the Ravens just to see if anything's coming. But Grandmonster not noticing here. He is sending some Ulfsarks over to defend his hunt as the spears come through. Obviously, he saw the spears with the Valkyrie, so he's got to expect something coming his way. Spears versus Ulfsark is Ulfsark favored, and he also has the medium Ulfsark, so he's coming in and going to attempt to take this fight. But looks like he's turning around as the Herser coming in, and that's going to be the spearmen retreating away. Meanwhile, these raining cavalry looking for something to hit here as Shelty just spamming out spearmen at this point. Actually has idle town center right now. Does he have his husbandry yet? He has husbandry, no pickaxe just yet. And the spearmen going to be retreating away. Now we see the raiding cavalry coming in to get a couple more hits on this one as these units are getting back to their base. We do see some more spears coming in around this location. I like this from Shelty. Distract on one angle, hit a different angle. But Grandmonster is way in front of him. He's already got units here. He's got 7 medium Ulfsark here already to fend off the 7 spearmen, and this is going to be a pretty good fight for Grandmonster to taking out most of these spearmen very, very quickly now as the spearmen are going to be retreating away. So we'll see what Shelty can do here. He's got some options himself. Option number 1 is to start making some axemen out, but mostly the strategy here for Shelty needs to essentially be one town center, semi-fast mythic, keep putting the pressure on, has to get some good fights. He doesn't have the Anubites to raid, which is a really big problem. These spearmen are just not going to cut it. And Grandmonster is more than happy to just take these wins, kill off a couple of units from time to time, and just keep going on. We see Shelty throwing up another barracks here. The score advantage for Grandmonster is absolutely huge for this stage of the game. And Shelty has basically got nothing going for him at this point. We see some more slingers coming up. Another barracks coming up over at the top of this base here. A little bit precariously placed, but the priest going to immediately start targeting down the Valkyrie. The priest have a track rating of 6, so this Valkyrie cannot dodge the priest fire. So the Valkyrie will fall. We see a nice forest fire here, but that's just going to be forcing these units away. We see the Pharaoh deciding to turn around and take this fight for himself. The slingers in the back need to start targeting down those throwing axes because they're going to do a lot of damage. Still not seeing any axemen getting built by Shelty as these Ulfsark will completely dominate this fight. We see the forest fire does manage to take down one of those barracks. And it's looking as if Grandmonster is getting pushed back here. That's a very big win for Shelty here, where it seems like Grandmonster had a significant advantage in that fight, just in unit comp. But it looks like and the fact there was a forest fire, it looks like Shelty does manage to hold on with defender's advantage, spamming out these spearmen at 9-second intervals, and the slinger in 14-second intervals seems to be enough there to hold on. And now we see Shelty moving forward. The population difference here is like 97 to 78, so it's still a fairly advantageous position for Grandmonster to be in. We don't have an armory up yet. We have a bunch of idle military here as well. The dwarves moving forward. Potentially Shelty could get a gold staff here. This Pharaoh is going to help out a ton. He's got a bunch of slingers here to try and take out these throwing axemen. Grandmonster's got 4 military buildings, 5 military buildings if he decides to build some Hersir here. And Shelty can have to retreat back, getting slightly housed as the houses are coming up now. No armory on the way. The Elves are going to attempt to surround this Egyptian army here. And we'll see if he's going to be able to get any real damage done. Does manage to snipe one slinger here. Nice job. See Shelty going to turn around and take this fight. Nice micro from Grandmonster to pull back those Ulfsark as his units are moving forward. We'll see where Shelty wants to go now. He does have these 5-speed spearmen, and the Ulfsark do have 5.28 speed, so that's still pretty good. And he's looking for something. He does have a raid hitting these villages. He's split up his army nicely, but Grandmonster notices it. Going to be turning around and taking this fight. We're going to see one villager kill here for it, though. So nice play from Shelty to target down that low HP villager. The dwarves on the gold, going to get pulled off as the spear's coming in. Shelty not paying attention to it as his spear's running straight by the dwarves. He doesn't care. He wanted them to come over onto the food villages here. This is very, very risky because he's got 17 spears here. There is a huge wall on this location, and these villagers are going to just retreat away. The Ulfs are going to come in and hit these spears and start cleaning them up. So incredibly nice play here from Grandmonster to bait that one. The wall going to attempt to go down. This is going to be too little too late, it seems. Maybe not. Actually, it looks like the wall... he decides to turn around and take the fight instead of the escape route there as the spear's turning around. And it is a very close fight. 77 HP to 88 HP, but 10% extra armor. A little bit more damage for the Ulfsark. So the Ulfsark should take this one fairly convincingly here. And that is a big, big win for Grandmonster. Though, while that's happening, Grandmonster got pushed off the town center. The throwing axemen, not enough to hold on here as Shelty pushing in with those slingers, going to attempt to take down the throwing axemen in the back. We'll see if he's going to be able to retreat back away from this location and keep himself in the game. 97 to 115 or 114 population here is Grandmonster. Also, a little bit behind on the villager count here, 37 to 46. Not 100% sure why that's happened in this game. Possibly because Grandmonster's been fully popped for a little bit. But trying to get this town center up regardless, right in the middle of the map here. Excuse me. Now Shelty deciding to turn around, taking this fight. He's getting the Wadget into the mix. Absolutely huge unit to help out as the slingers turning back here, trying to make sure they're not getting targeted down by those Ulfsark. The Pharaoh gets sniped here, and it's looking as if, yet again, Shelty manages to hold with his army. And if he keeps on pumping out these Wadgets, he's going to be in a really, really good position because, or he can just go heroic age, go mythic age here. Shelty has managed to grind his way back into this game, utilizing the Egyptian classical army, such a huge army against Norse players. It's so difficult to take these fights. And we'll see how's Shelty's micro going. He needs to snipe these throwing axemen, and you have to kind of split your slingers up when you do it, though, otherwise you overkill and it's a little bit less good. We see the Wadget getting targeted down by this Hersir, but Shelty notices it, targets it down with the slingers. The slingers are all getting taken out by the Ulfsark here, as Shelty still refuses to make axemen. Axemen would absolutely carve through this Ulfsark army. The gold mine finished in the base. We see Shelty moving on to this gold mine here. Still no axemen being made in this game as the town center is getting grabbed yet again. The Wadget in the back going to be doing tons of damage, but they shoot so slowly. And the Ulfsar can just push through, no problems. We'll see if there's going to be another Hearser getting built by Grandmonster. Villagers coming into the fray now. He wants to utilize those to keep this push going. Wants to be able to defend this town center as the villagers just moving in, going to start hitting this town center and preventing it from going up. We'll see if Shelty can hold on. The one Wadget has gone down. More units pumping in here with only 3 barracks. It's just not enough to keep up with the spam the Grandmonster is doing here. But we'll see if it's going to work. Grandmonster's just got 5 of these. Got a bunch of idle villagers in his base right now as Shelty is attempting to push in. We'll see if he can hold this town center. It is so close to going up. 2,600, 2,700 HP on this town center, and it does manage to go up. All those villagers fall, and now Grandmonster is basically equal on villager count. And as Norse, being equal on villager count means you are in front on the economy by quite a bit. We see Grandmonster's villagers onto this giraffe as well, as he's stealing that one away. And Shelty going to attempt to get this up for himself. These slingers here can take down these axemen as well, very, very easily, throwing axemen as well. And we'll see what's going to happen if this town center can get claimed for Shelty or not. The Pharaoh gets targeted down in the back here very quickly. He's going to be getting pulled back, trying to keep him alive. Nice micro from Shelty in order to keep that one alive. We see the Wadget coming in for Shelty as he has managed to hold on to this position, trying to get his second town center up, and Grandmonster has to push back. Grandmonster still not starting villagers from this location. He's got giraffe here. He could be building them, but it looks like he's just a little bit short on the food. But if you're short on food, just build dwarves. It's worth it to get the dwarves out. But he's not going for it just yet. Town center just about to get up. Villagers getting pulled back. Going to look up to the top location here. Eat these giraffe in the middle of the map. He's got giraffe up the top side of the map that he can eat as well. That's one of the things that Shelty's doing currently. And we'll see what Shelty's going to do. Is he going to opt for the 3 town centers here? Stay 2 town center, rush Mythic Age. He is playing a little bit into Grandmonster. What Grandmonster wants to do is basically just boom and get to Ragnarok here and then get potentially a gold starve or something of that nature. Now Shelty is continuing here. There's Wadget chilling in the back, wanting to do something. Priests healing everything back up. And now the town center is up. It's essentially this Egyptian army is kind of useless at this point. You can't push. You can't raid. You just have to sit back, and we'll see Shelty attempt to get to the heroic age here. And Grandmonster is doing exactly the same thing. In fact, he has cut military early as he realizes how the Egyptian army functions in this situation. Realizes he doesn't need that army. Wants to get to the next age. He's got so many military buildings. If he needs to start production, he can. So it's going to be completely fine here. Now the spear is going to be looking for some raids, but all the villages are basically protected here as the building placement from Grandmonster too good. He's actually left a little hole here in allowing the spearmen to walk into his base, but that's more of a bait than anything else. Now we've got the Skadi coming through for Grandmonster. He's got that heroic age on the horizon here. Nephthys coming through for Shelty now. The slingers trying to take down these throwing axemen. They're going to be retreating through the wooden walls here. And Shelty should be able to beat this down, to be honest, and maybe hit the gold. The gold mines on this map, very centralized. Grandmonster does have this gold mine if he wants. He can wall this back up, and it should be fairly safe. He's also got the frost coming, and then following the frost is probably going to be an immediate, or the Skadi coming, following any sort of like heroic age, should probably be an immediate mythic age. So I assume that's what Shelty is going to want to do as well. Oh, tell a lie, Shelty wants to get his 3rd town center. I mean, surprised to see that, because if you can go Thoth in this matchup, or Horus, doesn't really matter. This matchup in particular, Thoth is really brutal because you can get out those Phoenix. Just super hard for the Norse players to deal with. We see these dwarves coming over onto this gold mine as the spearmen trying to break through this Migdol, or sorry, hill fort, just about to pop here as Grandmonster going to be able to gather from this gold mine while this is going up. Potentially going to be having to cast Frost here. The units coming in. These slingers doing tons of damage. No electron bullets. The Spearman or the Slinger upgrade. We're starting to see some Huskarl coming out, which will be huge. The Spearman going to continuously try and take this location down, but I don't think that Shelty has the units to really do it. The Slinger is going to be doing a ton of damage, but now the Huskarls are out or starting to come out. This is going to be a very, very easy fight for Grandmonster to start winning here. Now we got this Frost Giant coming in. Should be able to pick off that Wadjet there, stay alive for a very long time against the non-funeral rites priests here. And these Slingers get absolutely massacred by the Huskarl here. A nice micro from Grandmonster as well with that hill fort, making sure he snipes those priests. That's going to keep his Frost Giants alive even longer. And now Shelty's 3 talent centers. His market's up. He's looking to go to the next age, and he is going through Horus. That's going to allow him to absolutely destroy this middle section here. I don't know if that's for or if he wants to just destroy the home talent center. We'll see, but Grandmonster, he's very short on food, very short on gold, he's got a little bit of wood in the back, but he's not close to the 4th age at all. And this strategy from Shelty is going to do absolute wonders, though he really does need to think about getting that funeral rites, because those Frost Giants will be able to completely destroy his Avengers. Something that Phoenix would not experience. That's why you go Thoth here from time to time. Shake things up. We'll see if it works anyways. Grandmonster with a lot of economy pumping in at this point. 62 villages to 67 villages. So Shelty with just a couple more, but obviously the Norse villages gather much quicker. Gold mines all over the place getting grabbed by Shelty. Surprised to see this gold mine not had an eye on. Now we've got some Axemen coming out finally for Shelty. There's the Ancestors coming in. He's got to be careful not to move these units in just yet. See if the town center is going to come up or not. The Ancestors coming through. 2,700 is absolutely crazy right now. And we see the Frost coming through. And that's going to pick off the majority of this army. The Ancestors in the back does manage to stay alive here. But the Pharaoh going to clean up one of those Frost Giants possibly before losing his life to these units here. Nice play there. Funeral Rites is on the way finally for Shelty. The Axemen coming in, pushing off this hunt. More units piling in. Where is the Tornado going to go? Looks like he's sending his Axemen over here. And there's the Tornado going to pick off a bunch of those villages there. Take down the town center as well, or at least it should take down the town center. The Gatherer is going to be moving over onto this wood line over here as basically Grandmonster needs to start making some cavalry units. The priests in the back going to finally start dealing some significant damage to those Frost Giants. And now the Animals of Set here coming in. Those Mythic Age Animals of Set on Voobly only cost 6 favor. So if you're ever going for these strats here, you've got to get those monuments up, because these units at this stage of the game, so strong. 12 damage per second, 30% hack armor, 40% pierce armor, 189 HP. What do they remind you of? They remind you awfully a lot of the mercenary stats. Super strong units and well worth making in this stage of the game. But the heavy infantry coming through for Grandmonster now. He's going to have to deal with Axemen though, which will be able to win these fights here. But the priests do seem to have all lost their lives. So these Frost Giants are going to start winning much harder. We see him attempt to make sure this town center doesn't get anything bad done to it by leaving a Frost Giant there. Nice play from Grandmonster. And this Migdol stronghold not going to go up. And Shelty in the end here does decide to tap out. Grandmonster manages to hold on, though he didn't make it look easy at all. Shelty absolutely butchering that early game and playing really nicely to get back into the game, but there was no solid follow-up after the Frost with that Tornado, and he just couldn't manage to sort his economy out in order to deal with the flood of high quality units that Grandmonster was making here. And that's game number 2. Grandmonster on set point. What a play here from Grandmonster. This is a player who's really improved recently, and he's showing it in this tournament thus far. If you guys enjoyed this game, please consider hitting the follow on the Twitch. If you're on the YouTube, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next game.